Welcome to a Chart Nerd technical analysis video. Today we will be discussing the likes of TEL coin. Now I did do some TA coverage on this project about 3 months ago. I think it was back in September, and boy, it's been a hell of a ride since. So I just wanted to show you guys some previous TA, a little bit of a clip from my last video, fast forward to where we are now, and sort of analyze what I think Q1 of 2025 going into Q2 and probably even the later parts, what that could hold for TEL coin moving forward. Now nothing that I say is financial advice. This is all for educational and entertainment purposes only. However, I hope you do enjoy the content. Let's dive in. So heading straight over to my YouTube channel here, and you can see again this video was from 3 months ago, and TEL coin was back at a price of 0.0012. So I'm going to show you guys this short clip very quickly before fast forwarding on to our TA today. So right now it does look like that from this high here that was put in March, which has taken out these previous highs, by the way, so it's good structure. It's nice to see that we have put in a higher high compared to previous highs that we were struggling to break out of. But ever since doing so in March, we started forming again another falling wedge pattern. So I think we could be on the verge of doing something where we rinse repeat a similar pattern to this, where both of these are two falling wedges, where we came up to a high, we started correcting, formed this falling wedge, broke out back to where the wedge started forming right now, and from that we broke out, came back to a higher low, put in a new local high compared to these previous highs, and we started forming this falling wedge again. So I think it's literally a rinse repeat pattern here of what we've had in the past throughout 2023, and we're coming into 24 again and doing the same thing. So just to reiterate, I thought we was in a very similar pattern and was just rinse repeating, and we were stuck in this sort of accumulation zone for a very long time for TEL. So let's get over to the charts now, and looking at the same fractal here, you will notice that this falling wedge literally came back down in September, the same week I think it was I released the video, and came back to this support and demand zone for another retest point. Now what occurred after that is we got the breakout, we had a pullback to a higher low, we accumulated for a few more weeks in October, and then into the early stages of November, we actually saw this massive impulsive move where we saw the retracement back to where the falling wedge started. So I was saying in the previous video, if we look at this part of the fractal here in 2023, we had the resistance, we had the falling wedge, we came back to support and demand zone, and then we rallied back up to the wedge resistance before correcting again towards the demand zone, and then putting in a new local high in March of this year. Now from March of this year, we then created another falling wedge, and this is why I was saying this here is a rinse repeat of what we had in 2023. Now fast forward to today, 3 months on from the video, and you will notice that we have seen a massive impulsive move, and we've actually retraced above and beyond this resistance line that I was looking to retrace back to from the falling wedge. So everything, if we analyze, everything back from this video has come into fruition, and this move here has played out to a T for TEL coin. So fantastic to come back and do the recent coverage and see that we have hit those sort of targets. I do apologize. And we've actually met them. And now what it looks like, as you can see here, is this previous resistance from March of 2024 at the moment looks to be holding as a key level of support. So if TEL coin can flip previous resistance into support and actually confirm 0.004 as support here that was previous resistance, this is where things could get very fruitful moving forward for TEL coin. So that play, I just wanted to show you guys, sorry it's taken a little bit of a while, but over 3 months has played out to a T, and we've actually broke above and put in a new local high higher than the March 2024 high. So this is very bullish structure. Now in previous videos I have mentioned about the sort of accumulation zone that TEL coin was in for a very, very long time. Now again, if we go back to analyze this sort of accumulation zone, you can see we came into it, support, and we were just caught between resistance and support, a rock on a hard place for quite a while. But however, coming into the latter parts of this year, and with the last sort of couple of months impulsive move, we've broken out of this sort of accumulation zone, and we've seen a new local high. So we've got very, very bullish structure. The accumulation zone since 2022 has been broken out of, and if we zoom out even further, you will notice that TEL had a previous accumulation zone that was very, very similar. We were sort of caught between a rock and a hard place throughout May 2019 all the way till December of 2020. So we was caught in a prior accumulation range that led to a massive breakout. We've had the all-time high in 2021, which was a massive impulsive move. Very happy to witness and have been a holder back then. I did offload last cycle and I'm not a holder right now currently, guys. Albeit considered, that shouldn't have any effect on what I'm discussing in this video. But again, nothing that I say is financial advice. From that high, we came back down and we built this accumulation zone over the last couple of years. So I think, again, where I was saying that this breakout here was a rinse repeat of last cycle, I think this accumulation zone, both these accumulation zones are rinse repeat situations for TEL coin. And this breakout right here could just be the confirmational start of seeing a massive impulsive leg up, very similarly to what happened last cycle for TEL coin. I think these few weeks and these back tests here could offer fruitful opportunity moving forward for the next impulsive move. Well, what I'm going to look at today is targets for TEL coin that I think it has the potential to reach. So if we go out to the monthly time frame very quickly here, and I'm going to get some Fibonacci levels on and some targets for us if TEL can manage to sort of enter price discovery this cycle during max euphoria and take out this 2021 high. I think we have some very, very nice targets going into 2025 for TEL coin. So if we go from the all-time low and this wick down here in May, retracing back to the previous high in February of 2018. I'm going to remove some of these fibs here and just get the important ones on. We want the 1272 and the 0 and the 1. And also, actually, we want the 050 because this is a key level of resistance to reclaim. So what I wanted to show you about the previous cycle and the similarities here is when we had the fib on from the low, retracing back to the high that we fell from, once TEL coin cleared the 050 and this sort of level of resistance, you can see it was hovering around this zone for a very long time. And this is where I was saying we was getting that choppiness, that sort of accumulation for a couple of years. But once we actually saw the close out above the 050, we did have some choppiness for a month or two between January and February. But at that point, TEL coin never looked back. And once it reclaimed this high, this one fib, you'll notice that TEL coin actually ran up to the 1272 fib extension. In fact, it overshot a little bit further, but the candle closes were just below. So keep in mind the 1272 from the previous cycle low to the high that it was retracing to, the 1272 fib extension was met once we reclaimed the 050. So now if we get a Fibonacci on for this cycle and analyze from this cycle's low, which was in December of 2023, if we get a fib on from that low, retracing back to the current high, if we rinse repeat the same scenario and assume that once the 050 is reclaimed, this will make it a bit more easier for us, guys. So once as I was saying, just like when this 050 was reclaimed back in January of 2021, this is what gave the confirmation to that overshoot towards the 1272 and taking out the 1 fib. So assuming that we are in a very similar pattern where we're just hovering, previously we was under the 050. If you have a look since here in March 2022 and scroll across to the left, to the right, you'll notice that this accumulation zone, in fact, could still be intact really and truly. But once this 050 is reclaimed, I think just like the previous cycle, once it was reclaimed within a monthly candle, once we see the breakout and close above 0.007, I think this is the start of that impulsive move where TEL coin could eventually look to take off to 21 cents and put in a rinse repeat move of last cycle. So again, just to get this sort of visual across, underneath the 050 was the accumulation range in the last cycle. When it broke out from the 050, TEL coin had the extensive move to the 1272 fib extension in that breakout. Now fast forward to our cycle, we're under the 050, rinse repeat situation. In fact, this has been an even longer durational period. So could the breakout be even larger? Who knows? But again, once this 050 at 75 is reclaimed, I think we do see a very similar sort of rinse repeat move here for TEL coin, which does give it the potential to get to 21 cents. If we mimic the last cycle move, I think this could be the play here for TEL coin, which from current price would offer an opportunity of around a 36x from current, and that's not even going from back where we was down at this support in September, which I showed you from the start of the video. That would have been an 18,000% move from back then, and a lot of people would have been screaming, no, it's not possible, it's not possible. Well, you can't tell me it's not possible if from last cycle in May of 2019 going to May of 2021, in the space of 2 years, TEL coin pulled a 181,000% move. Now, if you're to mention market cap, fair enough, understandable. TEL's market cap is a lot higher to what it was back then. I don't know the actual analytics of that, but when we do hit alt season, trust me, the euphoria market cap means very, very little. This is crypto. It's a little bit different to how stocks operate. Again, nothing that I say is financial advice. That's just my own take. People would say this isn't possible, but I really do think it is. During max euphoria, when we get the retail hype, and again, everything to do with payments right now is really kicking in. And I know there's a lot of work going on for TEL coin, so I think this is still a very likely potential. Again, to validate, I think what we need to do is reclaim the all-time high at 0.065 and enter price discovery. I think if we can reclaim the all-time high and do shoot over that, I think this is where it would give the game away to extending towards that 1272 that was met very similarly like it was last cycle. So that's just one sort of fractal to look at and take away on the monthly time frame. And there's something else that I wanted to point out here, and it's the potential formation of a monthly bullish cross. Now, these indicators do not come around very often. In fact, with the data provided, we only have the monthly 55 EMA from August of 2023. So we could only assume that somewhere in the past, probably or most likely around here, if there was the data for the 55, this red line, we can assume that there would have been a monthly cross back somewhere in December in 2020, which led to this impulsive move. So if TEL coin can sort of come back here, backtest its EMAs over January, February, hold them on a retest and form this monthly bullish cross where the yellow crosses the red. If we get that and the retest to the EMAs, I think this is going to replicate the same sort of move we had back in sort of December, January, February of 2021, where TEL coin really starts to kick in and show the market how it's done. So I think that is some sort of confluence there. The fact we are above the monthly 20 and 55 EMA, and we're also looking to sort of flip the previous resistance here. These previous highs of April, you can see that we've broken out above, and right now we're hovering above them as support. So even that, flipping that into support and holding these previous highs whilst we're getting the coil up on the EMAs here on the monthly time frame is a significant signal. I think if that cross forms, it just gives way to a very similar move to what we had in 2021. Now again, charting can be very simple, guys. All you really need to focus on is simple support and resistance tied up with a few indicators to give you confluence on your trade. Now again, the larger the time frames, the more reliable the patterns. So when you zoom out, when you're in doubt, just zoom out and use the same sort of strategy on your charts here. We're above, what did I do there? We're above previous resistance of March 2024 candle closes and are holding that. We've had a wick down to those highs actually, and we're currently holding it as support. So if we can maintain here and look for the continuation, form this bullish cross, I think very, very strong signs for TEL coin, and that move up to 21 cents is possible. Excuse me. Nothing that I say is financial advice. Now, if we do sort of struggle over the next month or two and we do see a sort of reverse here, pulling back, if we're to look for key support targets, we'll go back to the weekly, and ever since the bullish cross here, again, the weekly bullish cross, which we had another very bullish signal. The monthly is even stronger, but the weekly is still a macro bullish cross and a very strong sign. So you can see that since that bullish cross on November, this pushed the price up. We've extended, taken out the previous high of March, and right now we're just correcting. So very simply, I think a very nice sort of entry or area for support is where we're currently holding right now. I think these previous candle highs of March could act as support over the next few weeks whilst this 20 EMA starts to creep up. So I think the 20 EMA could act as support moving forward. If we do see any sort of further dip, I think look for the 20 EMA as it's creeping up, and hopefully we can hold that 20 on the retest since the bullish cross, because since the bullish cross we've broken out from the EMAs and we haven't had a retest to them for support. So if we can retest this 20 EMA, which currently sits at 0.0036, subject to change, I think this will start climbing up over time, but if we can get the retest to that 20 EMA and hold support on these sort of previous highs and consolidate, I think this will give way to that explosive move coming into the latter parts of Q1 2025. So it's all about holding previous support as resistance. We're above the previous high. We're currently holding them as support. The EMAs are creeping up on the weekly after a bullish cross. If we do come back any further, I'll just look for the weekly 20 EMA as support, guys, not financial advice. Again, for a little bit more confluence, whether this does actually tie up is a different story, but on the weekly, if we do get a fib on from this local high, retracing back down to our low of which we came from, so you'll see these lows here in September where we came up to the EMAs, came back for some higher lows, eventually broke out and formed the cross. If we do come back, I'm going to get some key supports. We want to look out for the 382 and the 050, right? So here's some more confluence, guys. You've got these previous highs that I'm speaking about that could act as a level of support from March, okay, those previous highs, and then you've got the 20 EMA. If this 20 EMA keeps creeping up and we keep pushing down, this is where we could come to the 382 for support and the 20 EMA before getting the next leg up and out of this high for TEL coin. So I think the 20-week EMA and the 0.382 Fibonacci from the local high, that's not on correctly, I do apologize. If I get that on correctly, it might help us. Yeah, so even better. The 0.382 at 0.004, near enough to a T. And whilst this 20 EMA climbs up, I think over the next few weeks will act as a key level of support. So you got this 1, 2, 3. If we see the 4 and the 5, I think we get that fifth wave down back to the 20 EMA on the 0.382, look for the support and get the continuation of the trend out of here for TEL coin. And I think realistically you could be looking at this is a 1, this is a 2, this is a really large 3. We're about to get a wave 4 and then a wave 5 onto higher targets in the near short term if we can hold this 20 EMA moving forward. So my key levels of support are 0.004, bang on the 382 and the 20-week EMA if we do see a retracement any deeper than these previous highs, which I think will likely hold from March of 2024. So nothing that I say is financial advice, guys. Short term, we could see some pullbacks over the next couple of weeks, especially with the USDT information that's going around. Believe of that what you will, each to their own, but I do think it will cause some uncertainty in the market and shake some people out if we do see a correction. So be prepared, guys. Nothing that I say is financial advice. The 20 EMA is support moving forward and the 0.382 along with these candle closes highs from March. So look for that for any concerns. And then again, we have that 20-cent target, which is the overall sort of outlook for me for TEL coin this cycle, where we do push up towards 20 to 21 cents if we can reclaim this all-time high, which was, I think it was, what was it again, guys? I think it was about from current prices, about a 20x, wasn't it? 37x, in fact, up to 21 cents. So again, nothing that I say is financial advice, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the content from Chart Nerd TA. Take care. Peace out.